Lynne's philosophy to seeing Lynne back in the courtroom, doing it one more time.
Oh no, that's my philosophy. I'm not as hopeful about it as you are, but I know that our best hope is by the numbers we can turn out, both at the rally to just buoy up our spirits, and also on Tuesday afternoon to eyeball the judges and make them know that there's a move. It's not just me that they're trying to put in jail, it's the whole movement.
I've just been reminded that I don't have to shout. You know, like I'm trying to reach people all over Manhattan, and I'm trying to do it from this studio, so I shout loudly. The cameras will do it for me. Please be there. It will be worthwhile.
The issues on the appeal, for those of you who are more oriented to that, as I said, we're raising a big First Amendment issue because, of course, this was about a press release. We're not talking necessarily about freedom of the press, although that's also in there somewhere, but basically about the right of my client to speak and the right of me to make a press release such as this, because it certainly is protected speech, and it certainly never led to anything, which is the way in which we evaluate whether or not something can be punished, speech can be punished. If it was meant to lead to something that was imminent danger, you know, they always use fire in a crowded theater, then that is prohibited, even though the speech is free.
You know,
but this
shouting
is
of fire in a theater, crowded theater.
It doesn't. Thank you, Ralph. And no, thank you. No, thank you, Ralph. So there's that issue. There is also the issue in my case of selective prosecution. That is, you know, that even though Ramsey Clark made the same kind of a press release for the same subject under the same restrictions, he was never prosecuted. He has testified to this. He very bravely came forward and testified. And I just want people to know that the question is, why did the government not go after him? And they did go after me. Some of us think we have the answer to that question because my background and history and where I have stood in all of this is such, and also because we live in a class-ridden society. And of course, Ramsey Clark is definitely of the elite upper class. His father was a Supreme Court justice. He was the Attorney General of the United States. Me, I've always been a journeyman lawyer or journeywoman lawyer. And my father was a school teacher in Queens. So there's that issue. We have issues of the way the law was used, whether they're using terrorism laws straight out of the Patriot Act to stretch definitions, to say almost anything could be aiding a terrorist. Is the woman who washed his cell, is the doctor who keeps the sheikh alive, are they aiding a terrorist organization because of their work? Well, I feel my work was no different than theirs, and that I am being prosecuted because they are very, very anxious to make sure that they send a message to people. And that message is being sent to the bar, that is the lawyers, but it's also being sent to everyday people. And everyday people are not supposed to have sympathy or care or have any kind of political movement around a person the government has decided is demonized. Now, because I represented a Muslim, I am part of that same demonization. And this is something that is very important because they basically are saying, and I think for many, many people who have been movement people, they are basically saying the sheikh was anti-U.S. government. He, of course, was anti-U.S. government from the perspective of an Egyptian nationalist, if you will, who was against the government of Egypt and all its corruption, getting money from the U.S. government. I have been anti-government in my life, but I am from the point of view of an American who basically says, I want to be more living like the Bill of Rights tells us to do, and have a government that interferes less but helps more, where we have a health plan where the money is not all accorded to those who have, but rather to those who have not. So, but they want to make it, he's opposed to the U.S. government, she's opposed to the U.S. government. They're the same. You know and I know nothing could be further from the truth, and nothing could be more absolutely disastrous to our notions of how we're appealing to the people. So this appeal is very, very important. The government has to be shown that basically they can't just destroy a person's career. They can't just come down and make a case out of whole wool, whole cloth, and expect everybody to just blindly follow and obey. So if you've ever had an instinct to step up and stand up, I ask you to be there on Tuesday. I ask you to support Lynne Stewart. Take a check on the website. It has all this information that I've been giving you. It also has a complete copy of the brief on appeal. That's Lynne Stewart, Lynne, Stewart, STEWART.org. And I think everything you wanted to know and more is on the website.
I look forward to seeing you both evenings, one evening and one afternoon. February 28th at 7 p.m., St. Mary's Church. The 29th at 500 Pearl Street at 2 p.m. Thanks much.